This is my TED Talk on how little actions can have large effects. Let me start by asking you about a few proverbial phrases. A proverbial phrase is a phrase that is a saying similar to those phrases from, those proverbials from oral tradition in the past. And you'll know what I mean when I give you these examples. For one, a little goes a long way. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? An apple a day keeps the doctor away, and give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach him to fish and you'll feed him for a lifetime. Now what these all have in common is that they all have to do with cause and effect. For example, the chicken or the egg, what came first? What was the cause, what was the effect? Could it have been the chicken or the egg? And the apple, it keeps the doctor away, so the apple a day is the cause, the doctor away is the effect. Now, the idea of cause and effect goes back to causality, the study of cause and effect, which was discovered by Aristotle. So, causality used to be restricted to living things, such as gods, humans, and animals. Things would only happen if it was caused by a living thing. But since then, it has been opened up so that there could be natural phenomena involved, or animatronics such as this, that could also cause things on their own instead of it being caused by a human or an animal. Causality is also deeply rooted within philosophy, specifically these three schools of thought. For one, there's Existentialism, which is the idea that humans are free to choose what they do, so their actions will have an effect on their character. There's relativism, where actions are chosen based on if they are following the societal guidelines of wherever they are. Then there's determinism, which is all actions are restricted and they are only decided from an unknown entity ever since the beginning of time. So there is no cause, but there's only effect. Now, cause and effect is the very driving force behind physics, which is a physics pun. And physics, if you don't know, is the science that deals with the structure and matter of interactions between objects in the known universe. And this is shown in Newton's third law of motion, where for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Then cause and effect in ethics showcases that every action matters. For example, good actions give you positive energy, or negative actions give you negative energy. And it would, depending on how you are in your life, you would be determined going to the heaven or the hell of whichever religion it is. This is greatly showcased in the show The Good Place, which, if you don't know, it is a show written by Michael Schur about the afterlife. It has this point system as shown here, where the green is good and the red is bad. And how it works is if you have a positive amount of points by the time you die, you go to heaven, the good place, and if you have a negative amount, you go to hell, the bad place. So you can see here, in the top left of that picture, it says sing to a child, plus 0.69 points. And in red it says ruin opera with boorish behavior, minus 90 points. Now this shows that little actions can have large effects. They will give you points if they were good, and that would bring you to the good place. And they can even have negative effects and bring you to the bad place as well. Now, how these two relate are that physics show that all actions have reactions, and ethics show that all these actions matter because the effect could be larger than the action itself. They are both two sides of the same coin, as they are both actions having reactions that are larger than themselves. Now, how my own personal experience comes into small actions having large effects starts with these bottle caps for polio vaccines. And if you don't know already, I used to live in Japan for 8 years of my life when I was a kid. I still am a kid, but this is a younger version as shown here. And this is involved with the EcoCat Movement. It was a charity restricted to Japan. That's why it was important to let you know that I used to live there. And you can see here, on this map in the top right, the EcoCat Movement was from Kyushu to Tohoku in the top right, right beneath the Hokkaido. And the EcoCat Movement started in 2002, where, the EcoCat Movement started in 2002, where it started with the goal of making Japan more proactive in its recycling efforts. So, because Japan is very heavy on its use of plastic or PET bottles, plastic bottles, instead of using how they would here, aluminum cans or other glass bottles. So, how it works is that for every 800 bottle caps, which is equal to the price of 20 yen, 20 US cents, they would purchase a vaccine for kids in third world countries. This was used to motivate people to donate their plastic to recycle it and give people vaccines in other countries. And the effects greatly worked, as shown here on this graph in the top left. Japan now recycles 85% of its PET bottles. And they even plan to be 100% efficient with PET bottles by 2030, as shown in this graph on the right. You can see here in 2017, their weight of plastic is getting less and less, and yet they're still having the same amount of plastic. And see, how this worked was all these families donated these bottle caps, so all these tiny actions added up to have a domino effect of this large machine working. They were all cogs in the machine that let them have this large effect on Japan, where they now are being very proactive with their recycling. Another more recent experience I've had with this is Team Trees. And Team Trees is a charity dedicated to planting 20 million trees by 2022. And how they do this is they're raising $20 million by 2020, like the end of 2020, January of 2020. And for each dollar a tree is planted, that's how it works. 20 million trees for $20 million. It was started this past October by these two famous YouTubers, Mark Rober on the left and Mr. Beast on the right. And currently, they have $17.7 million raised in a matter of months. And with this last month coming, it's still making great improvements. By now, it should be at 18 million. Now, how this works is all the funds are sent to the Arbor Day Foundation, which is the largest nonprofit organization focused on planting trees. And why the importance of trees, or what the importance of trees is that they consume carbon dioxide and release oxygen. And carbon dioxide reduces the ozone layer, which protects the planet from ultraviolet rays from the sun, which would effectively heat up the planet if there was no ozone layer. That's why these trees are important, because they keep the ozone layer from diminishing and making our planet warmer. I personally donated $20 to the Team Trees, so that's 20 trees total, and there have been many others who have had these small donations as well. And as I've said before, for the Bottle Cap Foundation, the EcoCat Movement, every donation counts. For this case, every dollar counts, unlike the bottle caps. And all these tiny donations will add together to have this large effect on the world itself, where we won't have as big of an effect on global warming. Okay. So that's not going to be there. So, to restate what I've said already, every action has a reaction. This was shown when I explained how physics worked, or how they were intermingled with this subject. And in ethics, it shows that each action matters. All these little actions do have an effect. And a little goes a long way. This is a very important quote for this subject and for me. It shows that even though I've only donated $20 compared to the people who've donated $1 million or more, it still has an effect. They're still reaching that goal of $20 million by the end of the year. We all acted as cogs in a machine, so we are all working together. We're all tiny pieces in this one big problem that we're going to solve together. So I'm going to put up a quote that I want you to remember before I leave. It's from the Dalai Lama. Just as ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into water, the actions of individuals have far-reaching effects. This is basically a restatement of what I've said, but from someone famous. And it is important to remember this because I want all of you to have the same effect. I want you to know that your little actions do have large effects. Thank you.